What is going on, everybody? Tunji again from Ceasar Graphics. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be teaching you guys how to make this sport poster. All right, so I especially did this for the Champions League winner. So without any further ado, let's jump into today's tutorial. Okay, so I'm going to create a new document now. So I'll click on file and I'll select new. I'm going to make my width 720 and my height is going to be 900. Then I'm going to call this project. Then I'm going to leave every other setting the way they are, and I'm going to select the create button. I'm going to create a new layer and I'll call this layer cloud. Then I'm going to click on the OK button. So then I'm going to change my foreground and my background to black and white. Then I'll go to filter, go to render, and I'll select cloud. All right, I'm going to zoom out, bring out the free transform and scale this big like so. Just scale this a little bit more and I'll position this here. So now the next thing I'm going to do is to create a new layer again, and I'm going to call this dark cloud. All right, or we're going to call it smoke, but I'll call it dark cloud. I click on the OK button. Then I'm going to select the brush tool and I'll go to the brush settings. There's a link here that you can click on that will take you to where to get the brush that I'm going to be using today. I'll turn off shape dynamic and I'll make sure my transfer is checked. All right, then I'll make my transfer control be on pen pressure because I'm using a graphics tablet. But if you don't have a graphics tablet, you can easily turn your flow to 15 and you are going to get the same effect. Turn on the shape dynamic. All right, and under the shape dynamic, make sure you have your angle jitter set to 25 like mine. And I'm just going to apply the brush like so. So the reason why we do that is so as to have different rotations, different angle of the brush as we apply it to the project. So I'm just going to pull it there. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to create a new layer again. And I'm going to call this white lights. And I'm going to select the OK button. So, but before I apply the white brush to this side of my project, I need to create a gradient map. So I'm going to create a gradient map now, and I'll change the color. Now, before I change the color, I need to make sure I'm on the icon of the gradient map, and I'm going to click on the gradient editor, and I'm going to change the color of the black here to dark blue. All right, so I'm going to change this to dark blue. So I'll click on the OK button, then I'll click here again and I'll add another shade of blue. So but this time I'll go a little bit up like so. Let's put the shade here, this here, just like so, and I'm going to click on the OK button, then I'll add another slider here, but this time this one should be a little bit brighter than the previous one, and I'll click on the OK button. Then for this I'm going to add this shade of blue green. All right, I'm gonna choose this shade of color. I'll select the OK button, and you see, let's just move this here, like so. So this should be here, and this should be here, like so. All right, then I'm gonna click on the OK button. So now I'm gonna go to the white light layer, and I'm gonna select the brush tool. Now I need to switch to white because I'm about to apply white to this side of my project. So then if I click now, I have the shade of color, and I'll click again. I'm gonna gently keep till I have, or you know what, let's just use soft round brush for this. So I'll use a soft round brush, and I'm just gonna gently apply that to my project like so. You know what, let's just turn off the shape dynamic and close the spacing, and I'm just going to apply that here. So we need to tweak this. So I'll go back to the gradient editor now, and I'm gonna move this to the side because I'm seeing this this sharp color on the edges of my brush. All right, so I'm gonna move this here like so. Now you see we're beginning to see the glow effect on the project. So I'm gonna move this here, move this here like so, move this here like so. Yeah, this is good. So I'm gonna use the eraser to just take out some part of the brush from the layer. So I'll select the eraser tool and I'll go to my brush settings and use the smoke brush and turn on transfer, and I'm just gonna take out gently the light layer like so, and I'll use the go back to my brush tool again, and I'm gonna select the soft round brush. Quick side of brush, just gently apply the brush to the project just like so. Alright, so I'm going to gently apply it like that, and I'm going to move this down a bit just like so. Then the next thing I'm going to do now is to drag in the picture of my trophy. So I'm going to drag that and drop here like so, and I'm just going to scale that big like so. You know what, let's just zoom in so I can see what I'm doing clearly. So I'm going to make it bigger, move this here, and hit the enter key. So the reason why I decided to apply this glow effect behind the trophy, the hand with the trophy, is because I want the hand with the trophy to, to pop out more. I don't want it to blend with the background. And that's why I decided to add this glow effect at the back of the hand. I'm going to make a copy of this. All right. And I'm going to move this up and hold down Alt and click to clip the gradient map in the trophy, the hand with the trophy. So now I'm going to go to the gradient editor again, and I'm going to turn this to this side. I'll make it white, or I'll make it light blue, sorry. I'm gonna make it light blue. Alright, and I'll move this here like so. This should follow. I think this is good. I'm gonna select the OK button. Okay, then I notice I'm losing the hand here, so I'm gonna add dodge to this. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold down Alt and create a new layer, and I'm going to call this dodge, and I'm going to select the OK button, and this should be in between the gradient map and the hand with the trophy. Then I'll change my blend mode to soft light, and I'm going to select this shade of color, which is white, and I'll select the OK button, and I'm going to select the brush tool, go to my brush tip and use the soft round brush, and I'm going to increase the size of my brush a bit and just gently apply the white brush to the side of the hand like so. All right, so I'm going to gently do that here. Now I'll do the same thing here like so, and I'm just going to gently apply it here like so. All right, then the next thing I'm going to do now is to add depth to the project. So I'm going to add some light effects to the hand. So to do that, I'm going to create a new layer. All right, and I'm going to call this glow rim lights. All right, so, and I'm going to put this inside the trophy hand. But before, let's just put all these in a group so as to tidy up our layer panel. So I'm going to call this BG. Then I'll go to the layer of the glow rim, and I'm going to select the brush tool, zoom in, and just apply white gently. Now listen, when you're doing this, all right, make sure that this is set to white. All right, and I'm going to increase the size of my brush, and make sure you have the transfer option check, or you change your flow to 15. And I'm just going to gently apply the brush to the hand like so. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing here. I'm going to gently do the same thing here. I'm going to the eraser tool and just take this out like so. Okay, so I'm going to create a new layer again. Alright, so I'm going to copy this. So I'll create a new layer and I'll paste this and call this, I'm just going to call this rim light, and I'll hold on Alt and click to put that inside the trophy layer. Then I'll select the brush tool and this time I'll check the shape dynamic option and I'll make this go back to 0 and I'll change this to pen pressure. And for my transfer, I'm going to turn that off. Make my smooth go to something around 45 because I want to be able to have smooth movement of my brush. So I'm just going to click and drag like so. Right, so I'm going to put that here and do the same thing here. Do something here. Right, then I'm going to do the same thing here, just like so. All right, then the next thing I'm going to do is to add a glow light effect. So I'm going to create a new layer again and I'll call this glow rim blue, super blue lights, and I'm going to select the OK button. Then I'll hold on Alt again and click, and I'll double click on this to bring out the layer style option, and I'm going to change this to color dodge and make sure you uncheck transparency shape layers, and I'm going to select the OK button, and this time I'll change my foreground color to blue. Okay, then I'm going to make the same move again. All right, so I'm going to turn on my transfer option and uncheck the shape dynamic, and I'm going to increase the size of my brush, excuse me, and I'm just going to apply the light effect like so to the project. All right, so I'm going to do that here. So okay, then for the hand I'll do the same thing. So for this side, I think I need to take it out from here. So I'm going to use the razor tool and just, take this out from here. And I'm going to do the same thing here. So, do the same thing here like so. I'm going to add a glow blue light. So I'll select the brush tool and I'll increase the size of my brush. All right. Then I'm going to change the blend mode to screen and I'll call this glow blue. And I'm going to just gently apply that here, here, Or you know what, let's just use another shade of blue. All right, so I'm going to pick the blue from here, and I'm going to press the brightness of the blue and click OK, and just click here, here, and here. So here, and I'll reduce the opacity, like so. So now the next thing I'm going to do is to put all of this in a group. Okay, so I'm going to call this traffic. Then I'm going to go to the adjustment tab and bring my curve in, and I'm going to, drag this down like so. Okay, this is okay, and I'm going to hit Control I on my keyboard to reverse the mask. All right, so the whole idea is to make people's attention be on this side of my project, and that's why I decided to make this move. So I'm going to select the brush tool now and go to the brush settings, and I'm going to go to the brush tip and choose Ceasar Graphix brush, and I'm going to switch my foreground to white, and I'm going to turn on shape dynamic, and I'll change my angle to 16 here, and I'm going to zoom out, and I'm going to gently apply the brush to the project like so. Right, let's see, this should be turned off, and I'm going to just apply that to my project and so like that here. Right now this is good. So the next thing I'm going to do is to create a new layer again, and I'm going to call this smoke, and I'll select the OK button. Now make sure that your foreground and your background is set to black and white, and I'll go to filter, blur, and I'll select filter, render, and I'll select cloud. And on the cloud layer, I'm going to go to filter, and I'll go to filter gallery, and I'll go to the sketch option here and choose chrome. So my detail is going to be 0 and my smoothness is going to be 10. Then I'm going to select the OK button. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring out the levels adjustments, and I'm going to make this, the darker part to be more darker like so, and I'll make so I want less details on the layer. All right, so I'm going to push this here, and I think this is okay for me, and I'm going to select the OK button. Now I'll go to filter, blur, and I'll select Gaussian blur. All right, now this too much, that's too much, so I'm going to make this about this level, and I'm going to select the OK button. Then I'll change my blend mode to screen. All right, now you see that effect on the project, so I'm going to reduce the opacity a bit, and I'm going to add a layer. I'm going to add a layer mask and select the brush tool. So make sure that your foreground is set to black, and just apply the brush here like so. You can take it out from here just like so. All right, you can even increase the opacity a bit. All right, this is good. I'm going to add some particles here, so I'm going to create a new layer, and I'll call this particles. Okay, and I'm going to select the foreground color and pick this shade of color here, and I'll select my brush tool. All right, go to the brush tip and make sure you are on the Ceasar Graphix cloud brush, and I'm going to reduce the size of my brush. You know what, let's just use this type of brush, and I'll reduce the size, and then go to the shape dynamic and make sure that your angle jitter is still on 16, and I'm going to just reduce that a little bit more, and just click here to add a color, and click here, click here, click here, just gently apply this to your project like so. All right, then I'm going to bring out the layer style by double clicking on the layer, and I'll change my blend mode to color dodge, and I'm going to turn off transparency, and I'm going to click on the OK button. Now the reason why I did that is to give those particle the light effect, and we can even make a copy of this. All right, and bring out the free transform and just scale this down and flip it and just position this here. Let's make it come here. All right. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to bring in my dust image from the exercise file, and I'm going to drag that and drop here. Then I'll change the blend mode of this to screen. All right, now you see we have those, dust effect on the project. I'm going to reduce the opacity of this a bit. Then, so the next thing we're doing is to add the light effects. All right, so I'm going to put all of this again in a group. So I'll hit Ctrl G on my keyboard and call this lights. Then I'm going to drag in the logo. All right, I'll scale that down and position it up here. All right, and I'm gonna change the color of the logo to white. So I'll go to color overlay and I'll choose white here and select the OK button. All right, then I'm going to create a layer behind the logo, and I'm going to change the color to orange. I'm going to go to the brush setting again, select my brush tool, and I'm going to use this brush here, and I'm going to increase the size of the brush, and I'm going to rotate it like so, and just click once. All right, then I'll change the blend mode to screen, and I'll bring out the layer style window to blend if this. So now I'm going to move from this side to this side, and I'm going to hold on Alt and click to break the slider, and we have this. I'm going to move this here and click on the OK button. Now you see we have that light effect on the particles. So I'm going to scale this a little bit more. All right, then I'm going to hold on Control and click on the thumbnail of the logo, and I'm going to create a new layer and call this orange light. Okay, then I'm gonna fill this with Alt Backspace, which is the shortcut for applying the foreground color to your project, and I'm going to go to Filter, Blur, and add Gaussian blur to this. I'll move this up like so and click on the OK button. And I'm going to change my blend mode to lighter color. So I'm going to create a new layer again. I'm going to call this Dodge. So I'm going to change my background to yellow. Select the OK button. I'll switch. Select the brush tool. And I'll go to the layer style option by double clicking on the layer, and I'm going to turn off transparency and change my blend mode to color dodge and click on the OK button, and I'll select the soft round brush here, and I'm just going to click on this side of the logo like so. All right, I'm going to hold on Ctrl again and click to create the thumbnail of the logo, and I'll create a new layer and call this white glow. All right, then I'll change the color to white. Click on the OK button and hold on Alt and Backspace to apply the color to the project, and go to Filter, Blur, and select Gaussian blur. All right, and I'm going to reduce the strength of this like so, and I can even reduce the opacity a little bit. All right, and this should be above the logo. All right, it should be above the logo. I can even make a copy of this and place this above the logo also, and I'm going to reduce the opacity a bit. It should be here, right? Reduce the opacity a bit, and I'm going to put all of this in a group. So I'm going to call this logo. All right, then I'm going to bring in the image of the light spark. All right, I'm going to reduce this, rotate this, and I'll position it here. Then I'll change my blend mode to screen, and I'll bring out the levels adjustment, because if I zoom in now, you see we're having some halos, all right, around the image. So we need to take that out. So I'm going to use the level adjustment to just push that out. So you see now we don't have it anymore on the image. So I'm going to select the OK button, and this should be here, and I'm going to scale this bigger like so. It should be here. I'll make a copy, then bring out the free transform and flip horizontal, and I'm gonna position this here just like so. So I'll push this up like so. So in order to make this more stronger, we can make a copy of those two layers. All right, then I'm gonna put this in a group. I'll call this sparks. All right, then I'll make a copy of this again, and this time I'm gonna push this down and scale this down. All right, and you can even rotate this. Yeah, we can rotate this, or better still, let's just use 180 degree, and I'm gonna push this down like so. All right, and so I'll go straight to the logo folder, and under the yellow dodge, we are going to add more yellow, all right, to this. So I'm going to push this here, and I'll select the brush tool and just gently add more yellow brush to the project, all right, like so. Okay, can even do that here, and just add that here like so. Okay, now this is good. So another thing we can do again is on the logo layer, on the logo folder, we can add more light here. All right, so I'm going to select the brush tool, and I'll increase the size of my brush and switch this to orange, and just apply the brush to the layer. All right, so as to make it look like the wind is blowing the spark for this side of the frame. All right, so I'm going to just add more here and more here like so, and I'm going to put the sparks in a group, and I'll call this sparks, and I'll add a layer mask to this, and on the layer mask, I'll zoom in and just take out some part of the spark from the logo so as to make the name visible. So I'm just gonna take it out from here. Right, take it out from here. Okay, and I think I still need to add more light effect to the logo. So for this, I'm gonna increase the brightness. I'm gonna increase the opacity like so. For this, I'm gonna bring out the levels. I hit the Control L on my keyboard and just increase the brightness. All right, so as to have more yellow on the project. All right, that's too much. So I'll push this here like so and click the OK button. All right, and we have this. So next is to take this to camera raw. So before we do that, I need to stamp visible of the project. So I'm going to hold down Control Shift Alt and E to do that, and I'll right click and convert this to a smart object. I'll call this color gray. All right, so I'll go to filter, and I'm going to select camera raw filter here. So I'm going to start with the basics. All right, so I'm going to make my contrast 15. All right, because I want to be able to see more depth on the project, and from my highlights, which is this side, I want to be able to boost the this effect. So I'm going to make that 7. So I'm going to add more shadow to the project. So I'm going to make my shadow -10. I'm going to make my white 13 because of the effect I have on the trophy side here. So I'm going to make that 13. All right, then I'm going to make my texture too because I want to add just little depth to the pixels. All right, so I'm going to close this. Then I'll go to the details. All right, so I'm going to add a little bit of sharpening to this, and under the color mixer, I'm going to change my red to 40. All right, so as to increase the strength of the red here. I'll make my yellow 14. I'll make it 14. Then I'll make I'll make my orange 14 and make my yellow 10. All right, now you see that we are beginning to see this strong effect on the logo part here. and I'm going to close this. Then under the calibration, I'm only going to increase the saturation of the red to something around, let's say 10. All right, so the next thing I'm going to do is just hit the OK button. So I'm going to put the blues here now. So I'll type scale this down, and I'm gonna call this, I'm gonna make this one 8. So this here is the final project. All right, I hope you enjoyed today's tutorial. If you have not subscribed, remember to hit the subscribe button and remember to ring the bell so you will be notified when I post my videos. Like, share and comment on this tutorial. I'll see you guys again in my next video. Peace.